Endy Rodriguez shows up and immediately reminds everyone why this conversation is just never going to die about the catcher.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan, longtime Pirates writer and analyst covering this team for a better part of a decade now. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. If your first bet wins, head to FanDuel.com to get started. We're going to start today with Endy Rodriguez and what we saw from the catcher position yesterday and why this moment matters more than just one good game. Then we're going to go into Carmen Mlodzinski because I think we're already watching the transition back to the bullpen happen. And then we'll wrap up with a big series starting tonight against the Phillies. First, though, Endy Rodriguez. It was never just the injuries. Let's start with this. The offense showed up yesterday, but the type of offense really matters too. And getting production from the catcher position, and that's how you keep a lineup moving. Endy Rodriguez goes 2 for 3, a double, a walk, 2 RBI, and pairs it with solid defense. That's the version of Endy you always believed could exist at the major league level. Joey Bart's dealing with his foot infection, and the fact that there's no timeline kind of tells you it's going to be a minute. This isn't day to day, it's probably weeks. So here comes the argument. Who's the starting catcher, Endy or Henry? And I'm going to say something you probably don't want to hear, and it really doesn't matter. With Endy's injury history and the way this team likes to deploy catchers, you're going to see both no matter what you want to call them. Let's get something straight about Endy Rodriguez. This wasn't just a he got hurt and everything stopped situation, or fans stopped believing in him or something. There stopped being anything to believe in, guys. Endy Rodriguez fell off as a performer too. You can't ignore that part of the story, because when he arrived, well, he looked like the guy. He was acquired in the Joe Musgrove trade back in January of 2021. He was a low A MVP, hitting .294 with 15 bombs. One of the best minor league seasons in baseball in 2022. He had a .323 average, 25 home runs, 95 RBI, nearly 1,000 OPS, and started raising some suspicions for the very first time with a person covering the team about Greensboro, right? And what that ballpark can do to a player. Regardless, he climbs into the top 100 prospect list. He's in the futures game. And he wins Pirates Minor League Player of the Year. This wasn't hype for the sake of hype. It was production. And then came the injuries and the regression. Yes, the injuries were devastating. Tommy John and flexor damage. It wiped out 2024. He had a finger issue and a recurrence of the Tommy John stuff in 2025. Season-ending surgery in August because of it. That's brutal. But when he did play again, he didn't look like the same hitter. You know, he was only hitting .221 down there in the minors this year with 1 home run, .627 OPS. It's not just rust. It's real performance drop. It's timing, it's bat speed, it's pitch recognition, and all of that it takes to hit when you lose that much time. And before he lost all that time, he was struggling in the minors, catching traction in AAA. That's something that we have not seen from him yet. Doesn't mean you don't see flashes. You're going to see highlights from a player like this. You are. I don't really care how badly he's doing. He's going to produce highlights on occasion. But yesterday still matters because it's not just the stat line. It's that you saw controlled at bats. He looked pretty good. Gap power, plate discipline, steady defense. Listen, all of those things are things that Endy Rodriguez is capable of providing. Endy Rodriguez is capable of playing in this league. Can he do it consistently? That's the thing. He's going to get time. Not because the Pirates are choosing him over someone else necessarily, but because circumstances force the opportunity, as we kind of always assumed it would have to. Sometimes that's all the player needs. But what I really want you to understand about Endy is there is no conversation really about him taking over the starting catching job, if only because of the way the Pirates deploy. They're just not going to do it. Henry's always going to catch Skeens, at least for now. And I guarantee that he's going to catch 1, 2 more times during each rotation. I think that's the way they'll split it. 3 and 2 through the rotation. Pretty normal. Pretty much what they did with Bart. Should be an indication more of what the team wants to do with that position than it is a conversation about who's the starter. And to be fair, we haven't seen anybody take over offensively. And if we do, maybe that'll change what they do. You know, if somebody really takes off and just starts hitting, maybe we'll have something to actually talk about here, because we're talking about the theoreticals of some guys taking off and hitting and then being the starter, but that's just not going to happen. And again, even if you are the starter, you're talking about like you get maybe 1 or 2 more games a week. This team's not going to overtax their catcher. They're not going to play anybody 5 days a week back there. And even the stuff about personal catchers and trusting so-and-so and whatnot, geez, even Paul Skeens has squashed that now. They will throw to anybody. They have some preferences, but they'll throw to anybody. They're not as concerned about some of this stuff as we are, which makes total sense. Endy Rodriguez could really be a nice piece on this team, but already, just because he is a nice guy that smiles a lot, has a ton of energy, looks good in spurts, man, he's got the wool pulled over some of your eyes so far that you're creating positions for him. Can't he be a Josh Harrison type, somebody put in the YouTube comments yesterday? I guess he could, but guys, can't you like get to the point where he's at least like a backup catcher you're for sure you want first? Did one game do that for you? If so, boy, you should be a lot more enamored with Nick York than you are. Jared Triolo had a great game yesterday. I'd imagine that should change your mind too. I think we all know that it won't. Pump the brakes on Endy Rodriguez and let him come to you. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Let him come to you. You can get really excited about the skill set and everything, but I don't think it's a guarantee that he stays up here if Bart is healthy suddenly, which, again, doesn't look like it's coming tomorrow, but it's coming. And if he and Davis are healthy, I feel like they're going to be the catchers. Endy Rodriguez has some capabilities to play first base, and we've seen him play a little bit of corner outfield. We've even seen him play second base in his career. The Pirates have focused almost primarily on the catching. In first base is going to come right back to him if he wants it. I'm sure he could still play the outfield. I'm just not sure they would do that to his arm after the couple UCL procedures he's had. But I think you could see him do multiple things, but don't go so far as to be creating positions for him yet. Let's see if he can hit. That's all. Let's see if he can hit at this level, because he hasn't done it yet. And frankly, he hasn't done it at the AAA level either. So while I'm excited to see a good game, and I really am, there's nothing bad to be taken from that. I also don't need to like blow it out to September and decide what he's going to be doing this whole time. He's a piece. Let's see where it goes. That's all you need to do. You don't need to start kicking Henry in the head over it. And you just don't. They both have a role, they both will have a role. Now let's move from a player whose opportunity just opened up to a guy whose role might already be changing. The NBA playoffs are here, and every possession matters. If you're looking to even get closer to the action, FanDuel has a great offer to get you started. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets when your first bet wins. That's right, turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets for just getting started. I like using FanDuel during the playoffs because everything I need is right there in one place. You can check stats, trends, and matchups before making your picks. So you're not just guessing, you're making informed decisions. And look, if you're a baseball fan like me, you can get in on the Pirates too. Right now, they're sitting at plus 700 to win the NL Central. So if you've been riding this team or you think they've got something building, there's value there to jump in. Whether you're looking at player props, playoff games, or just following your favorite teams, it adds another layer of excitement to everything you're watching. Head to FanDuel.com, get started. FanDuel, play your game. If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, random charges, and monthly bills can get overwhelming really fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in. It helps you take control of your finances all in one place without making it complicated. What I like about it is how simple everything is. It tracks all your subscriptions in one spot. And if you're paying on something you forget about or you don't use anymore, you can cancel it in just a few taps. It also automatically categorizes your spending so you can actually see where your money is going every month, not just guess. And you can set budgets, get alerts, and stay ahead of the upcoming bills, which honestly makes everything feel way more organized day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join today at rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. Hey everybody, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Before we get into this too deep here, quick shout out to the everydayers, you guys showing up every single day, making Locked On Pirates what it is what it is. And if you want to take it to the next level, join the Everydayer Club. Go ad free, jump into the Discord, be part of the community. $5 a month, $50 a year. Check the Supercast link in the description. Now on to Carmen Mlodzinski. It feels like he's already transitioning. Feels like he's already going from starter to the bullpen. And I don't even think this is a philosophical debate anymore. This is just about what the team needs. Let's be clear. Carmen has been fine overall. 9 appearances, 7 starts, 3-3 record, 4.40 ERA, 1.44 WHIP. As a starter, 5.29 ERA, inconsistent results, blow up outings against Milwaukee, Texas, Cincinnati. As a reliever, 11 innings. And remember, when we're talking about that, 2 of those were those bulk starts, right? Anyways, as a reliever, 11 innings, 1.64 ERA, 1.00 WHIP. He's got 2 wins in those bulk roles, including 6 scoreless versus Washington. And obviously last night worked out. It's not a small difference. And it's the role identity just screaming at you. Here's where this is going to go. When Jared Jones comes back, and yes, the plan is still for him to start, The best version of this team looks like this: Jones back in the rotation, Carmen Mlodzinski in the bullpen. And I'll say it like this: he helps solidify the spine of this bullpen. Multi-inning weapon, stops rallies, covers innings, keeps your high leverage guys fresh. That's value. The important part to me is that they have options. If Jones struggles, you can go back to Carmen starting. If Jones succeeds but needs innings managed, you might still see bullpen usage. And if something opens up, Hunter Barco, Thomas Harrington, Wilbur Dotel, who I really like, by the way, legit starter traits developing. There are paths here. This isn't a one-lane road, I wouldn't say. Carmen has done okay, but okay isn't always what decides your role. Sometimes it's about where you help the team the most. And right now, that looks like the bullpen to me. Not just because of his performance, but because of some of what you have coming. I think on a lot of teams, probably not having this talk. You're probably waiting for him to get a little bit better. But he's also probably been your fifth starter, and you don't mind. Most teams, I think you'd be pretty satisfied with what he's providing. And even if you had to do something creative to get around it, you're probably okay with that. This team has options, though. They've got the advantage of not having to be okay with anything, at least not in the starting rotation. I mean, we just talked about, like, at catcher, there's certain realities where you're just going to have to be okay with certain things. Well, the rotation isn't that way. This team really does have options. I thought for a moment there was a possibility that we were going to get Jared Jones back from the IL and have to have a real uncomfortable situation, maybe even a 6-man rotation or something to try to work him back in. And then the back of my head, I know how many innings Jared's really going to have to give, and at least roughly, and it's not going to be enough to get through the whole season. So you're not really in a position where you want to be washing your hands of anybody who could do that. And Carmen Mlodzinski very much so could turn out being the top choice to go back into the rotation. Even now, I'm being a little premature. The thing is, I think what I'm seeing from Don Kelly is a little bit less of a worry about necessarily what Carmen wants in this situation. He's given him a lot of opportunities to latch on and become the starter, just a normal starter. It hasn't worked out. He really does seem to benefit from having somebody open the game for him. There really does seem to be a big fear in the clubhouse, at least, of having him face predominantly lefty lineups. I mean, guys, you can't have starters that give you those kind of concerns. I mean, you can, and a lot of teams do, and a lot of teams settle for that as their fifth starter. That's kind of the situation all around the league, that, most fifth starters aren't necessarily made to go all the way. And I know you're going to find examples out there like the Dodgers and Braves or whoever team you pick, but you've been watching baseball a long time. You know that it's real hard to have a really effective, solid 1 through 5 rotation. And you know that you've already benefited from that here in Pittsburgh with Carmen being a member of it. I just think that there is a point where you can fix a couple things really with one swing. Now, I don't think they've really had the opportunity until now. Wilbur Dotel is probably their most baked, ready to come up here and starter. And he's probably not 100% ready. Jared Jones, very close on the rehab, probably 2 or 3 more starts for him. And then I would think he's up here, which probably means 2 or 3 more starts for Carmen Mlodzinski, right? And I would think you could even almost see their times overlap. Let's pay close attention to when they start throwing, Jared, when it gets a little bit closer to time for him to come off the IL, because if it starts lining up with Mlodzinski, I think, well, the writing will be even more on the wall. That's not necessary, I don't think, to have this happen, but that's the slot I see him going into. And I really don't think they're going to formally call it a piggyback or anything. But I think you'll see him lurking around trying to be the long man for he and Bubba, and really just give this bullpen a spine again. I just want to say that. I think that's what Carmen Mlodzinski can produce, is he can be what keeps this bullpen upright. It might be a more important role than fifth starter, really. And I'm not saying that the kid has to be happy about it, but this is the way it's going. And then ultimately, like if he's going to continue to at least look like somebody choked his puppy in front of him when you tell him that he's, got an opener or he's not going to start. Listen, eventually things like that will either lead to him accepting that he's a bullpen arm in his role and maybe he's a swing man, or he doesn't. And then ultimately he makes your decision on who you have to trade pretty easy, because at some point this team is going to have to trade some more of this pitching talent, believe it or not, because they still got a ton of it coming. We'll be talking about other names as this season evolves, and Seth Hernandez should be one of them that should be talked about as having a capability of being up here as early as next year, the way he's rolling. As ridiculous as that sounds. Speaking of tests for this team, they're about to get one. This Phillies series is going to be a little different than I think their record says it will be. Workplace chaos, you all know what that looks like. Deadlines stacking up, your inbox is out of control, and the one person that you need to fill is just sitting there open. When the pressure's on and you need hired right now, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach people who actively fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping the right person finds your post. And here's a stat that really kind of puts it in perspective. In just the time I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time actually talking to candidates that check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time interviewing. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium visibility it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed right here. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Hey everyone, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. The Phillies arrived tonight, and this is just not the same team that started the season at all. Under Rob Thompson, they were 9-19, a .321 win percentage, one of the worst teams in baseball. And under Don Mattingly, they were 11-4, a .733 winning percentage. Listen, that is not just a bump. That's a transformation. The numbers tell the story. Before the change, they were .219 average, 29th in baseball, .656 OPS, 29th in baseball, .580 starter ERA, 30th, .513 team RA, 28th, and a run differential of -54. After the change, .254 average, .780 OPS, .186 starter ERA, .244 team RA. Run differential flipped positive. Listen, that's dominance. The catalyst, Kyle Schwarber. 5 straight games of the home run, climbing to the top of the MLB home run leaderboard, setting the tone. This is a measuring stick series, believe it or not, I think, for both teams. Because now you're facing a confident lineup, a pitching staff rolling, a team that expects to win again. This isn't the Phillies that you're going to catch slipping. This is the one that reminds you who they were supposed to be. And the Pirates have an opportunity to show the Phillies that they're a different team too. Pirates used to be a get right team or a stay right team when you came into town, and that's not what they are this year. And I think this is going to be a good matchup. Both of these teams have a lot of the same kind of skill sets, frankly, and a lot of the same kind of deficiencies too. If they have them, they're defensive and they're manageably defensive. You know, they're less than ideal situations around the diamond in certain places. I think that the Phillies still have that dominant pitching that you've really enjoyed watching over the years. If you're a team that didn't have a dog in the fight for the playoffs and cheated with the Phillies, like some of us may have, I don't know who I could be talking about at all. But they've also gotten older, and there's no denying that certain aspects of their team are on their last legs. I am surprised at the turnaround here, and I don't necessarily blame their coach. Rob Thompson was pretty universally respected coach. I thought he had done really well. I mean, he was friends with Derek Shelton, and I remember that being really funny because that was why Derek Shelton got selected to the All-Star game to help him coach one of those games. And I thought, well, that's just odd because Derek doesn't coach anything like Rob Thompson. But you know what? Maybe he does. Maybe he had really, really good players that played really, really well despite what he was doing. And when things started going south in Philly, they didn't have any answers because they didn't have anybody that really had to do anything to get that team to play well in the first place. Maybe. All I know is they've made a change, and it's caused drastic change to the way this baseball team plays. The Phillies are dangerous now. Ignore their record entirely. They're under 500. That doesn't mean we should destroy them. And this should be a knock them down battle, this series. It really should. The Pirates got some good pitchers going against them. Braxton Ashcraft, Bubba Chandler, and then back to Paul Skeens. The Phillies are throwing good ones at us too. Christopher Sanchez is going to be unbelievable. Aaron Nola. I mean, guys, it's going to be a fun series. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't worry about really anybody in the Phillies lineup in particular. You have to worry about all of them. But the one I worry about the most is Kyle Schwarber. He just is hitting everything right now. And I don't know how you avoid it. He really seems to be able to go out and get things now. It used to be with Kyle Schwarber, as long as you kind of didn't come anywhere near his danger zone, you were all right. But he's really covering more of the plate than he has in the past too, so this should be pretty interesting. I'm excited to watch this series. I think it's going to be a well-pitched ball game. I think both of these teams can hit. I think they're pretty evenly matched. I think this is a team that the Pirates could be fighting for a wild card spot, primarily because of how poorly that the Phillies started. They dug themselves a really deep hole, and I think that's going to put them in this category rather than up near the top fighting for the division with the Braves, who are just running away from the league. So today, Endy Rodriguez got an opportunity, and he started showing something worth watching. So let's keep watching instead of trying to be right. Carmen Mlodzinski looks like a bullpen piece more and more by the day. And I think Don Kelly is starting to show us that he feels the same way by the way he's using him. And the Pirates walk into a series against one of the hottest teams in baseball. We'll see what they're made of. We're serious about Pirates baseball because somebody has to be. Let's go Bucks.